Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Chasing the Cup. I am your host, Will England, and in this episode, I'm going to be reviewing the races from Michigan. I'll also go over the news, and I'm going to preview this weekend's races at Richmond 2. But first, let's get to the results from Michigan. Kevin Harvick breaks a 65-race winless streak and wins at Michigan, followed by Bubba Wallace, the pole sitter, finishing second with his first pole, Denny Hamlin in third, Joey Logano in fourth, Ryan Blaney in fifth, Martin Truex Jr. in sixth, Kyle Larson in seventh, Eric Jones in eighth, Alex Bowman in ninth, and Ty Gibbs in only his third start rounds out the top 10, getting his first top 10. And this race was probably the best Michigan race in a long time. Although it looked a little tighter last year, you couldn't pass because you had that stupid 550 package where you couldn't pass at all. Meanwhile, this race, it was slightly more spread out, but you could definitely pass, and it was definitely pretty fun to watch. You had some great battles throughout the pack, you got great battles for the lead and all that, and it looked really good. Of course, Bubba Wallace finished second. He got his first career pole, and afterward, he was down on himself for finishing second because he should have not battled with Joey Logano hard during that final restart. And then Ty Gibbs, on only his third start, finishes 10th. So if I am Kyle Busch, I'm scared because Ty Gibbs is now running top 10 in 2311 equipment. I wonder what's going to happen if he gets into Joe Gibbs' Cup stuff. And to be honest, Kyle Busch, from what I've heard, he may not return to Joe Gibbs. But I would not be worried about Ty Gibbs if he moves up because although he's still learning, he's learning very well. And he got his first top 10. And also, Noah Gragson was running top 5 before he got wrecked in stage 2. He was running really well. And I'll come back to that in the news. And there was also a big wreck in stage 1 that took out a bunch of cars. And so overall, this race was probably the best Michigan race in a while. And I'd say this race saved Michigan. And finally, for the Xfinity race, Ty Gibbs picks up another win, followed by Justin Allgaier in second, Noah Gragson in third, Brandon Jones in fourth, Austin Hill in fifth, Josh Berry in sixth, AJ Allmendinger in seventh, Daniel Hemrick in eighth, Riley Herbst in ninth, and Landon Castle rounds out the top 10. And so I'll make this brief. That race was pretty boring because the Xfinity cars are just basically COTs and they just have some dirty air problems. And it just made the race kind of boring. It's better than the 550 package that Cup had when they had the Gen 6s, but these Xfinity cars need to be revamped because they're basically the Gen 6 cars. I've heard talkings about maybe turning into an SUV series or the new electric series, but we'll have to see about that. And so overall, a good weekend for Michigan. A great Cup race, a below average Xfinity race, but as long as you got a good Cup show, I'm fine with it. And so before we get to the news, I'm going to go back and take a look at the Cup playoffs because with Kevin Harvick winning, he has really shaken things up. With 15 winners all full time, you now have a conundrum. The last guy in on points is Ryan Blaney, who's only 19 points above the cut line, and 19 points below it is Martin Truex Jr., and it's going to be a tight cut line battle unless someone wins that is outside of the top 16, like maybe Eric Jones or Bubba Wallace, which they have chances too. So it'll be quite interesting coming into Richmond because Martin Truex Jr. has been very good at Richmond, and he's one of the best short track drivers. And Ryan Blaney recently had a good run, although this was one of his worst tracks previously. So we'll have to see, because if there's 17 winners, I'd say Blaney and Truex, unless they don't win, they'll be in. And if they both win, then Kurt Busch would be out, because he's still out because of his concussion. And so with that out of the way, let's get to the news. First off, tickets are now on sale for the 2023 Busch Light Clash at the Coliseum. So if you're interested, you can go ahead and buy them. I'd snatch them early before they sell out, if they sell out. Chase Rice will be performing an infield concert during the Talladega race weekend. Lee Greenwood will perform God Bless the USA at Kansas on September the 11th. For that Kansas race, of course, this is not the only time that Lee has performed the song at a NASCAR race. He did it at the Bristol night race once. Of course, the song is a staple of Bristol Motor Speedway, but he performed it live one time for one of the night races that I was at. I don't remember which one, but I remember him singing, and then there was someone with an eagle on their arm. That was cool. But I don't think he's done this in a while, so it's great to see him doing it again. Safeway on board will be sponsoring John Hunter Nemechek at Richmond. As I said earlier, Kurt Busch is still not clear, and Ty Gibbs will run again at Richmond. Noah Gragson will be heading to Petty GMS to drive the 42 in 2023. And based off of what he's done so far in that Colic 16, I think he's ready. After his top 5 run, although he didn't finish top 5 because he's wrecked out, I think he is the raw talent to go out there and run well with Petty GMS next year. Nelly will headline the pre-race concert and driver intros for the Bank of America Roval 400. According to Adam Stern, NASCAR charters have reached $20 million in asking prices, so the inflation has gone really high for charters. Of course, 2311 was the last team to buy a charter, and they got it for $13 million. Josh Williams and BJ McLeod Motorsports have parted ways. Larry Fleet will be performing the pre-race concert for the Cookout Southern 500 at Darlington. And here's a good one. Sargento Foods has teamed up with Josh Bilicki for Watkins Glen after Josh Bilicki crashed into one of those Sargento signs at Road America. It looks like Sargento, and Josh Bilicki made a deal after that. So that's cool to see. That was great. Chris Wright and Nice Motorsports have parted ways, and Chad Chastain will be running this weekend at Richmond. I know Chris Wright was basically the caution clock for the truck series this year, and I think this was a smart choice by Nice to get rid of him, because he's been tearing up equipment a lot. And also, Nice needs to make some changes to their team, because if 3 of their 4 drivers are below Hailie Deegan in points, then you seriously have problems. Next, for the Michigan TV ratings, USA got a 1.54 rating and 2.621 million viewers for the race at Michigan, which is up from both last year's event and the comparable weekend at Watkins Glen, and was the second highest rated sports event of the weekend after the NFL Hall of Fame game. Sam Mayer will be returning to Junior Motorsports next year. Mike Rockenfeller will be driving the Spire Motorsports 77 at Watkins Glen. Of course, Mike Rocky Rockenfeller is known for being a 2-time 24 Hours of Le Mans race winner, as well as being one of the best German racers of all time. DGR has swapped the crew chiefs of Tanner Gray and Hailie Deegan. Mike Hillman Jr. will be moving to the 15. Meanwhile, Hailie Deegan will be getting Jerry Baxter. Now, Jerry's been running pretty well this year, with Tanner Gray getting a couple top 5s and top 10s. Meanwhile, Hailie Deegan only has 1 top 10, so we'll see what happens with the swap beginning this weekend. Justin Haley is back in the Xfinity Series for one race at Daytona in a number 14 for Colleague Racing. I'd say he'd be my pick because he's just been dominant on those plate races in the Xfinity Series. Washington Commanders player Chase Young has been named the honorary pace car driver for Richmond. Marco Andretti will be making his Xfinity Series debut at the Charlotte Roval for Big Machine Racing. And finally, Hy-Vee has extended its partnership with Bailey Curry and JD Motorsports. And so that's it for this week's news. Now let's preview this weekend's races at Richmond. First, with trucks, we have the Worldwide Express 250 for Carrier Appreciation. The race will be 250 laps and 187.5 miles, and the race will be on August 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And so for my pick, I'm going to go with Tyler Ankrum. Tyler finished 3rd last year at Richmond, just behind John Hunter Nemechek and Kyle Busch. Of course, Kyle Busch will not be in the race, and John Hunter Nemechek has been pretty sucky at these short tracks. So I think this time, Tyler Ankrum will get his first Truck Series win at Richmond. The Xfinity Series has taken a week off, so for the Cup race, we have the Federated Auto Parts 400. The race will be 400 laps and 300 miles, and the race will be on August 14th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And the interesting thing is that it's a day race, so it looks like they've abolished the Richmond night race. So let's take a look at the weather for Richmond. On Sunday, it'll be pleasant with times of sun and clouds with a high of 81 degrees, with winds south to southwest at 6 miles per hour and a 25% chance of rain. So it'll be kind of like partly cloudy with a smaller chance of rain, but there is a slight chance of pop-ups because it is the summer, but we'll have to see. They got the Michigan race in. There could be little bit of a delay at Richmond as well, but we'll have to see how much rain we're going to get in Richmond. And so for my cut pick, I'm going to go with Martin Truex Jr. This track has been historically good for Truex. He won this race last year, and so I think this time he'll come in clutch and he'll get the victory at Richmond. And so that's it for this week's episode. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe for more. And if you're going out to Richmond this weekend, I hope you have a good time. And if you're not, have a good time wherever you are. I'll see you next week.